Every club. Every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to your bonus podcast on the Daily Newcastle. My name's Iain Mackay. I'm hosting tonight. I probably shouldn't be, but I have been asked to do this as a favour so that we can have Mr. Daniel Tilley, Dan, from the Daily Villa, join us to do a crossover preview. Now, I know you would have heard our preview yesterday morning. This is going out on Saturday morning, day of the game. And I think it's only right that we make the effort to do a bonus podcast, Dan, because we are the two form teams in the country at the moment.
Absolutely. Well, Iain, thank you very much for having me and hosting for us. It is a game. Well, it's the second big game in a week for us, and it has now become all important. All important. So I'm really looking forward to seeing if the boys can bounce back, and really looking forward to the game later today.
Well, I was going to start off by asking you how you're feeling after that noble exit from the Champions League at the hands of PSG. All the Newcastle fans know what heartbreakers those French boys can be, of course, from 2 years ago, when a very dodgy injury time penalty got them a draw they didn't deserve, and they were the points that meant that we went out at the group stages. How are you feeling about it?
It's sort of mixed emotions, really. I mean, people say if you start getting to the quarterfinals, you should be looking to go to win the thing, and that's certainly, it's not necessarily how I felt, but I thought we stood a chance. We've been a team that can punch above our weight, and you look at that result that we had against Bioniq in the group stage. No one gave us a chance, other than me, actually, on the Daily Villa podcast. I bet for us to win. So you will understand I'm the optimistic one out of the Daily Villa team. I felt we were going to do it. I really did, and that bit of bad omen at the start, playing the wrong anthem, just sort of put my head in my hands. And, I think it was one of your old Marv Allen Shearer that said you can't win it in the first 10 minutes, but you can lose it. Now, we lasted longer than 10, but those two goals were a real sucker punch. But I'm really proud of the way the boys, dug deep and certainly gave the Villa fans a lot to cheer about on the night. And as we were talking about just before we started recording, with Ian Maatson, that volley, I mean, I was being scraped off the ceiling by my wife when he hit that. It really felt like that was it, and a fantastic block in the end. But I think the lads have done us proud. We said at the Daily Villa that we didn't come to participate; we came to compete, and I think that's what we did. So we can be proud with our efforts in the Champions League this year.
I certainly think you can, because it wasn't just that Maatson clearance off the line in the last minute of injury time that stopped you, because Donnarumma made a couple of absolutely incredible world-class saves.
Indeed.
To keep you at bay earlier in the second half.
Indeed. And I mean, you had Konza as well, scoring the harder chance in the end.
Oh, yeah. That header, or non-header.
Mate, heartbreaking. But this is why we love the beautiful game.
To be fair, it probably is wise for Villa to just set aside the Champions League at this point of the season, because you've still got so much more going on. Semi-final of the FA Cup coming up, and points to gain against the faltering teams ahead of you, so you can make sure of Champions League next year. How are you? How are you feeling about chances of winning the FA Cup, and then also chances of qualifying for the Champions League?
Well, when we saw the draw, Villa don't always have the best joy against Crystal Palace, so I had a little bit of a knot in my stomach when that came up. But certainly after Tuesday, I've got us down now to go and win the thing. I think we'll go all the way. I really do. I think we'll have had a taste of glory, of almost glory, as should I say. I mean, it would have only taken us to extra time, but we had enough opportunities to win it in 90 minutes against PSG, to turn that tie around. So I think they're going to really see that and go, this FA Cup is ours. I really do. I think City are going to be stuffed by Forest, and I think we're going to see an absolute thriller on FA Cup final day, very similar to how the game was at Villa Park between Villa and Forest. It should be an absolute cracker if it is. With the league, I've got a feeling we'll sneak in fifth. I really do. I've just very, very quickly looked at the games, and there is definitely some good winnable games there. And I don't want to say quietly confident. As I say, I'm the confident one. So let's keep the faith. I think we'll win the FA Cup and we'll get back into the Champions League just about.
You're on an incredible run of consecutive wins at home, aren't you?
Indeed.
And my hope for us on Saturday, because of course without winning our game in hand last night, we leapfrogged over Forest into third and to be just 4 points behind Arsenal. So realistically, with a game against Arsenal and keeping our fingers crossed Liverpool can do them in their game, if we win the rest of our games, we finish second. And I think I just shared with you my bet of a fiver for Newcastle to finish second at 80-1, which I could cash out for 30 quid now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to hold out for the whole 400.
No, fair enough.
Now, we came to Villa Park when you were on a run of 14 straight home wins. 2 years ago, I think it was. And we weren't in very good form either, but we did. I think that was when we won 3-1, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for a similar thing, but we are in absolutely stellar form at the moment, Dan. And if you love maths, we've started our 10 cup finals, as Eddie Howe talked about them, with 1 against West Ham, 2 against Brentford, 3 against Leicester, 4 against Manchester United, and 5 against Palace. There's only one logical conclusion about how many we're putting past you on Saturday, mate.
I don't think my heart could take it, Iain. I really don't. I mean, we have had a terrible set of results after Champions League games this season. And, when I was looking down the fixture list, I mean, I take every game as it comes, but secretly looking over my shoulder thinking, oh no, anyone but these guys next. I mean, you guys have been on an incredible run. And I'm pleased for you guys. It's so lovely to see a different team from the so-called,
Isn't it
big
just?
six. It's
Goodbye, Man United, Tottenham. Where are you?
Yeah,
Chelsea
absolutely.
and Man City shaking a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's do that. If it's going to be Liverpool, Arsenal, let's have Newcastle, Villa, and Forest in there with them, and let's really shake it up. Set a new benchmark for what the new Big Six is. They'll have to start calling it a Big 12 with all of the teams that are, because to be fair, Bournemouth are overperforming, Brighton are overperforming. It's really exciting, and I hope it is heralding a far more competitive Premier League. Because let's be honest, we all got a bit sick of Man City winning it by the end of April.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Yeah. So sorry, we've done what I wanted to do in part one. I can't believe it. Within 10 seconds of 10 minutes, it's like it was almost planned, Dan.
There you go.
I am going to just take a pause. You may refresh yourself for 30 seconds or so because my best mate, Mr. Kenny Davis, is going to tell us all about Ronaldo's mob. in Canada.
Your body is unique, and Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bioniq, the world's most personalised supplements. Bioniq provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bioniq. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Thanks very much for that, Ken. Ken Davis, rumoured to be negotiating a six-figure package with a major music publisher to be issuing bedtime stories that he reads for the ladies. It's only a rumour, though. It's only a rumour. How have Villa shaped up coming out of the game? I mean, we've all been super impressed with the January signings. Asensio, wow, what a player. Amazing that he can't get a game at PSG. And Rashford, of course, the rediscovered, reborn Marcus Rashford, looking more like the old Marcus Rashford that everybody used to live in fear of with each game. So, any news in terms of injuries for players that we might expect would turn out? Any suspensions? How are Villa shaping up for Saturday?
I think we're not looking too bad. I mean, with the January transfers, that really improved our squad and squad depth tremendously. Absolutely fantastic business by Mochi and Emery. My hat off to them. I don't think we've got any suspensions. The only person that looked slightly doubtful, although he was on the bench for the PSG game, was Leon Bailey. He's had a bit of a torrid run.
Mm.
But I think you'll see us heavily rotate for this. I think you're going to see Asensio start. I think you're going to see Marlon start. He's been another fantastic signing for us, really starting to find his feet. And yeah, I think it's going to be a bit of a changed squad, but equally as threatening.
Yeah, that is the worry. That is the worry. It did raise my eyebrows when Duran got sold, but then to what I can't remember what the price was. It was a ridiculously high sum from Saudi, wasn't it?
65 million.
Yeah, and to sort of use that to get Rashford, Asensio, and Marlon in,
Yeah,
brilliant business. Because I think there's still a profit at the end of it because they're on loan, aren't they?
they are. Asensio and Rashford are on loan. Rashford, £40 million option to buy. I think our wage structure would take a bit of a hit if we did go and buy him, but that option's there. That there isn't an option for Asensio, which is really upsetting. I personally think they need to just give him, give PSG whatever they want for him. Quite frankly, I haven't seen a player like Asensio at Villa Park in my lifetime, really, that I can compare it to. He's absolutely incredible and a real fantastic player to watch. But seeing Rashford blossom, and I mean, he's not the only Man United or ex-Man United player to blossom, having left Man United.
Well, no.
You know, there is something rotten in the state of Old Trafford.
I know. Well, look, Anthony Alanga, first season destroyed us at St James's Park, but he played for Nottingham Forest, and he's now
Indeed.
top of my colleague Kevin's wish list as to who we can get in to strengthen our right hand side. But the list does he was the start of it, wasn't it? Look at Sancho, look at Anthony, Rashford, McTominay. I think McTominay's down to get a winner's medal in Italy, isn't he?
Yeah,
Absolutely
I believe
astounding.
so.
Absolutely astounding. That's why they're in 13th, 14th, 15th. They're just lucky there were three teams a lot worse than them. Otherwise, they'd be fighting relegation now.
Indeed.
So that looks like you're going to have a fairly full strength side to choose from, and he can decide from training who needs half a game, who can do a whole game,
Yeah,
which is probably, and they're interchangeable. there's no dip in the quality of your squad when he starts bringing the players off the bench.
No, indeed.
For Newcastle, we had all of our terrible news, or what seemed like terrible news, before the cup final. In that Lewis Hall, who had won his England place at left back,
Yeah.
damaged his ankle, is out for the rest of the season. Sven Botman, after his ACL, had come back for a few games, but needed to take another step back. He's had a small operation on his knee, but apparently
Yeah.
will be back before the end of the season. And then Anthony Gordon was suspended, of course. So going into that Carabao Cup final or the West Ham game, we were thinking that's the whole of the left side is gone. What the hell are we going to do? I'll tell you what we're going to do. We'll move Livramento from right back, where he's very good, over to left back, where he's outperforming Lewis Hall.
Yeah.
We'll just rely on Dan Burn and Fab Shah because they've been excellent all year at centre back, and hope neither of them get injured or sent off. And Harvey Barnes, he's due a run in the team. Wow, what a transformation! It's that sort of patched up side that has gone on this run of 6 straight wins. And as I say, they just look more and more comfortable when they're playing with each other. Than even the Newcastle before the injuries. And now, of course, we've got a really strong bench. Callum Wilson's back. Anthony Gordon's sitting, chomping at the bit to come on. So, yeah, so for Newcastle, I can guarantee it'll be an unchanged side because Tintle's not going to change what Eddie Howe's done. And that unchanged side is the side that lined up in the Carabao Cup. There have been no changes. What we find in terms of rotation is that we'll start really, really fast, go so far ahead that they can take the players off and bring the substitutes on that then just holds it. That's what they've done previously. I'm not saying that's how the game away at Villa will play out, because to be fair, Villa away is the most daunting game for us that I can imagine. But yeah, I think we will. I think we'll be going for it, and I do think the way that Emery lines up suits our fast transition, because you can play with a really high line, leave all that space for Barnes, Livramento, Murphy, Isaacs to run into, and in Tonali and Gamarish, we've got 2 players who can, and Shah as well, of course. We've got players who can ping a 40, 50-yard ball with some great accuracy. So I'm fascinated by it. I'm so glad it's on the telly. It's going to be a fantastic match.
Indeed. I think, actually, personally, I think the game is going to be almost a bit of a cliche, but I think it's going to be a really interesting midfield battle. I think if Villa get bogged down in midfield, you'll tear us apart. Personally, I don't think we're going to start with Kamara, which, as wonderful player as he is. I think we'll start with Tielemans and Onana. But also, I think we're going to go for this. I think we're almost both teams are going to have the mentality. Well, as long as I score one more than you, we're going to be okay. I think you're going to see quite an attacking lineup from Emery. He's started Rashford as that solo striker, but I think we're going to start with Watkins this time. Maybe put Rashford out on the left. He doesn't seem too keen on that, Emery, but it might be the game where we're forced to do that, and I think we'll see Marlon on the opposite side, and yeah, we have pace of our own, with Tielemans being able to knock it quite happily onto the boot of somebody.
It's intriguing. It's intriguing. I am buoyed by the fact that, and also worried by the fact that 2 years ago, when we came right in the middle of our run to qualify for the Champions League, you brought us down to earth with the bump that we needed to actually get together and treat the last few games as cup finals with a 3-0 win, and we were lucky to get nil that day. But since then, we've won all 3 games since then, 2 at home and 1 at your place. So fingers crossed. We're going for a win. I'll be absolutely delighted if we can come away with a draw. I'll be honest with you. because I think we've got some super winnable games coming up after that. I'm not convinced Arsenal, the draw specialists, are going to win all 6 of their last games. So I think we've got a good chance of catching them anyway. But yeah, what a game that's going to be. I'm going to pause there and give you the Zencastr advert, and it's old school, Dan, because I much prefer this advert than the one that they changed where they chop the words out. It doesn't make any sense. Do you have a story to tell that the world needs to hear? Have you struggled with reaching the audiences who are engaged with your story? It might be time for you to start a podcast. Let me tell you about a platform we use here at Global Sports Podcast Network. Zencastr makes it easy to start a high-quality podcast built for growth from day one. With 4K video recording from your phone and AI editing that automatically removes ums, ahs, you knows, and 22 other speech patterns, Zencastr makes it super easy to start a podcast that sounds great. Ready to tell your story? Check out the link in the show description to learn more about Zencastr. The OG. The oldies are the goldies.
Beautifully done.
Right.
Beautifully done.
I'm not sure who's going to start for Villa, but I thought I would let you know I'm terrified of Rashford in his newfound form because he always used to destroy us when he was in that sort of form at Manchester United. I think he's such a good player. I'm going to look forward to seeing Asensio play, but he's
Yeah.
somebody who can destroy us in a moment as well with a killer pass
Yeah.
or just ghosting in and arriving just at the right time to side foot a goal. Ollie Watkins, less so. I think we've had his number the last few times we played, although that 3-0 at your place, he was all over us, and we've got the same back four essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tielemans, I'm not sure. I know he's playing better this year, but I've never really rated Tielemans very much. That's probably a terrible thing for me to say. Who are the fullbacks? Because have you got fullbacks that bomb on?
Well, you're going to have. I personally think you're going to see Iain Matson, who loves
Yeah,
to get forward and with tremendous pace as well. I mean, I haven't seen someone run like that with the ball for a while. And I think on the other side, you're going to see Matty Cash, who also much prefers going forward. Now, obviously, with Emery, one stays back, one goes forward. We're predominantly attacking down the one side. So I don't think we're going to leave it open for you at the back necessarily. We do play quite a high line, but I'm very impressed with Esri Cons this season, who I think is going
yeah,
to start. I don't think he's missed a game, and it would be really lovely if we got a good result with Tyrone Mings in the side after he had that horrendous
yes.
ACL injury at your place.
And he was so innocuous, I was there that afternoon, and there was nobody tackled or fouled it. It was just he
Yeah,
just twisted his
yeah,
knee.
it
It
just
went
went.
down.
Yeah, I mean, it was the same
Awful.
week that Emi Buendia did his ACL. I remember 2 ACLs in a week. It was
Good grief.
horrendous, horrendous. But no, I think we've got quite a fairly solid back four. Matty Cash usually gets quite a lot of stick off Villa fans, but he's not been playing badly as far as I can see. I think it's going to be really interesting who Emery picks in that sort of forward four, if you like, because obviously we play with the back four, then almost a holding midfielder in that double pivot, but it's that forward four that is going to be really interesting. And I'd love to see Asensio start, and I'd love to see Rashford maybe move slightly out on the wing with Ollie going up the middle and Asensio just behind him. I think that'd be a fantastic thing. With potential Morgan Rogers or Marlon the other side, I think that's a really threatening back forward four.
Anybody who you would identify as the danger men on our side?
Well, following on from Crystal Palace, just about all of them, to be perfectly honest.
You've got to don't give Fabian Schär the ball on the halfway line because he'll
No,
have a shot.
I think it's genuinely petrifying. I must admit, when Harvey Barnes became available, I really thought we were going to go for him. I think he's a fantastic player, and he does worry me. Alexander Isak, what a fantastic season he's had.
Yeah.
I just look forward to hearing him play. And Tonali, after he's come back from his dodgy little bit of Italian affair, another world class player. Really, really fantastic. So,
Great choices. In the same way that the Konsa is the most underrated centre half in the Premier
yeah,
League, I think. Tonali's the most underrated midfield player.
yeah, I'll go with
But I
that.
don't know how long they would be underrated for. I
Mm.
mean, Konsa's not a secret, is he? He's into the England squad, but then still can't get a start with England. I
No,
don't understand it.
it's absolutely mad. I'm pretty sure there was a stat, and I think this stat still holds, that last season he was the defender least likely to be dribbled past, and I think that's still holding for this season as well. He's been tremendous, but due to injuries at the start of the season, we had to start playing him out on the left, and I mean that was, he's an international centre back, but championship left back.
Well, we are in the market for a centre back, or maybe two centre backs in the summer. So
Yeah,
I
well, let's
know
not go mad.
Eddie, Eddie, recovering from his pneumonia, is scouring the internet because he's obsessed. He's scouring the
Indeed.
internet to listen about Newcastle United topics. He'll eventually find us. Ezra Konsa, Eddie, he'll cost a lot, but he's worth it. He's the least likely to be dribbled past.
Nah,
So that's a message for him.
there you go.
Right. What about some predictions, Dan? What do you think? This is hard, isn't it? Because to be fair, I mean, it could be 5-all. It could be five on one side and none on the other.
Yeah,
But what do you think? How do you think this game will work?
I think this all depends on how the team regroup. As I say, we've had horrendous results after Champions Leagues, but we've not put in a performance like that in the Champions League for a little while. So I look really forward to this game. I've got a feeling this is going to be 2-1 to the Villa. That's what I'm going with. And I'm going for Ollie to pinch it in sort of around 80 minutes.
Mhm. Fulham did us like that and won 2-1
Yeah.
at St James's Park. We did blitz them and took the lead, but
Yeah.
they stuck in it, and then they were the better team in the last half hour. Okay, well, you would know if you'd listened to the Daily Newcastle what my prediction was going to be because I do make the same prediction for every single game. However,
Okay, well.
I always seem to justify it, and it's a great bet, by the way, because this is a score which generally is alive for a lot of the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for a Newcastle 3-1 win, which is the same as last year, actually, so why not?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we're on fire.
Uh,
I've never seen a Newcastle team click the way that they're clicking at the moment. I was awestruck last night. And of course, they've
yeah.
been practicing their shots from the touchline. Just watch that. Yeah, short corner, and that'll be shot straight at the top corner from the corner flag. Um, it's incredible. They are incredible. And this team is kind of a new mix that have played half a
Mm.
dozen games together. Down the left with Barnes and Livramento, so fast. Um,
Yeah.
such good dribblers. Trippier and Murphy, old friends, with that midfield. The I can't remember what we used to say. Brunaliton midfield. That's the three of them together. I think that'll give us the edge, as it always does. And if they win the
Mm.
midfield battle, we have got some fantastic players to aim at. Isak broke a three-game goalless streak with the fifth goal last night against Crystal Palace, so we'll have him to score.
No. Okay.
Um, Tonali always seems to reserve a good performance and pops up with a goal against Brentford and Villa. That's the only teams he scored against. So we'll have him to have a one. And what about Murphy? He's in such a purple patch and scoring from like he says, his juices are flowing. He's scoring from everywhere. We'll have Murphy to get one as well. So yeah, that's my prediction. As I said, I hope it works out that way. I will be delighted if we come away without losing, to be fair, because I do think that we've got a tough match away at Arsenal, but the other 4 games are very winnable.
Yeah.
That is great. Bonus podcast, bonus crossover podcast. New friend in Daniel Maid. Hi. Thank you very much indeed for joining me at such short notice, Dan.
My
I
absolute
think
pleasure.
we've had a really good old chat about that, and here's to both of us finishing in the Champions League places. And if you can win the FA Cup, we'll both have a pot in the
Yeah.
cabinet as well.
Well, there you
That's
go.
how we want the season to run. That's how it's
Absolutely.
going to run, baby. Excellent. Thank you very much for listening. I've been Iain Mackay. That was Mr. Dan Tilley from the Daily Aston Villa. We are both going to be celebrating in the summer a cup win and Champions League qualification.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.